Good afternoon, students. In the previous classes, we have learnt until decision making and branching statements. I have explained various versions of if-else statement and switch statement, and also certain example programs for if-else and switch. All this is done so far. So the next topic in C programming is your decision making and looping statements. I have already explained why looping statements are required. So as I have mentioned earlier, when you have a situation wherein you check a particular condition, based on the condition, if you have to decide among various possibilities or among various options, various choices, which one to execute, then you will use branching statement. So again I'll repeat, if you have 4-5 different choices, 4-5 different types of instructions, and each one needs to be executed only if certain condition is satisfied, then branching statements will help you to choose which block of statements needs to be executed. But in case of looping statements, we have a certain set of instructions. We are going to execute it again and again, continuously, repeatedly, for a given number of times, or we are going to repeat it until a certain condition is as long as certain condition is true. So that is called as looping statements. Again, based on the requirement of the program or based on the logic of the solution, you can put branching statements inside loops, loop statements inside if else. So all these various combinations are possible. So we will first learn what all different loops we have, what are the syntax, examples, and how to use them. All this we will learn in today's class, and then we will do lot of programs in which we use branching statements also, loop statements also. Okay, so as we know, loop statements are required to repeat a set of instructions. So what is looping? It is repeating one instruction or a block of instructions. Okay, repeating a block of instructions. How long you're going to repeat? You're going to specify how many times it has to repeat, or you're going to specify as long as the condition is true, it is going to repeat. Okay, so we will see what all loops we have. So in C programming, there are 3 looping statements. Okay, so 3 loop statements are there. So the first one is your while loop. Okay, first is while loop, and then we have do while loop. We will see what each one is one by one, and then we have for loop. So these are the 3 different loops that are present in C programming, and if you know these loops are present in C++ also, Java also. Therefore, like once you learn certain programming constructs, it is common for many programming languages. So first one we will see while loop. So I'll first write the syntax for while loop. Means this is the format in which it is supposed to be written. So first we have to use a variable here, and that variable needs to be initialized. Okay, so we write variable initialization before the for loop. How you initialize? Whether you are going to give a static initialization statement like a equals to 0, a equals to 1, or whether you are going to use scanf statement, so that is up to you. So based on the requirement, you are going to initialize the variable used in this while loop. So after initializing, then we are going to write while condition. Okay, so while condition. So here we are going to write an expression which is basically, it is going to be a logical or relational expression which will check a particular condition. If the condition is true, we have the set of instructions to be executed, and then we write a closing bracket, no semicolon. Remember, many students do this mistake. There is no semicolon here or here. Okay, so there is no semicolon. Don't write semicolon for a while loop. So variable initialization, while condition, and then here we need to write the modification. Usually we write modification as the last instruction in your while loop. You can write it anywhere, again depends on your program logic. So let us see how this works. So here we are going to use a variable for this condition to check the condition. That variable must be initialized before using it in the loop. How you initialize is up to you. So I'll give you two examples for you to understand. So we are going to initialize it and we are going to check a particular condition. If the condition is true, all these instructions will be executed. After executing all these instructions, when you have a closing bracket, it means it is the end of while loop. The compiler will go back to this condition part, check the condition again. If it is true, again this set of instructions will be executed, again go to condition part. Okay, so variable initialization happens only once, but this loop, it keeps repeating from condition. If the condition is true, the set of instructions will be executed where value of the variable gets modified, and we keep checking the condition and repeating the statements again and again. How long you're going to do? As long as the condition is true. Once the condition becomes false, we come out of the loop. So if the condition is true, we enter the loop. If the condition is false, we come to the next instruction which is present after the loop. Okay, so I'll give you one example. So I have to use a variable. Let me assume I use a variable called I. Usually we use I, J as iterative variables, that is variables used in iterations. Iterations is repetitions. Okay, so I will take I will write it as 1. Okay, now while I less than equal to 10. So what is the condition? I should be less than equal to 10. That is the condition, and you see the variable is initialized before itself. And here I am going to write multiplication tables of 5. Okay, so percentage D into percentage D equals to percentage D. First percentage D is 5, second percentage D is I, and then it is 5 star I. This is going to display instructions or multiplication tables of 5. And then now right now it is I is 1, right? It is going to display 5 into 1 equals to 5. Next I should become 2. So we write I plus plus here. Okay, so what will be output of this program code? So this is your initialization part. Okay, we are using a variable in the loop condition which is I. That variable we have to initialize. So I have given a static initialization here. Okay, static initialization is given, and while I less than equal to 10. So this is your condition. If the condition is true, we enter the loop. Is I less than equal to 10? Yes, so we enter the loop. I am supposed to print this. These are the set of instructions to be executed if the condition is true. You can have as many instructions as you require and enclose them within this curly braces. Next is, this is a modification part. Okay, so here variable I is modified. Why should we modify? Because in this case we need multiplication tables. 5 ones are, then 5 twos are we want. If we don't modify, every time I'm going to get 5 ones are only, right? So it has to keep increasing. So we need modification, one thing. One more thing is, see, if I is 1 and I is less than equal to 10 is true. If I never modify this, if I don't modify this variable at all, then I value remains 1 only, and when it keeps on getting executed, I will never go beyond 1, and I less than equal to 10 is going to be always true. So which will make it which will make the compiler unable to come out of the loop, because when it is true it has to enter inside the loop, and then only if it is false you have to come outside the loop, and I is 1 only, nowhere we are modifying its value, so it remains 1 even if you execute the loop 100 times. So it means you are getting into an infinite loop if you don't put modification here. Okay, so now what is the output going to be? You will get 5 into 1 equals to 5, 5 into 2 equals to 10. So like this it goes on. up to 5 into 10 equals to 50, it gets displayed. Okay, so that is going to be the example code snippet for your while loop. Now I'll give one more example. What if here I give I greater than equal to 10? Then I is 1, and then we come to the next while statement where we have I greater than equal to 10, where the condition is false. Since the condition is false, compiler will not even enter this loop. Okay, since condition is false, directly compiler comes to this point where other instructions are written. So if the condition is false for the very first time, then the instructions that is present inside the loop will not get executed even once. Okay, so this is while loop. The next one is do while loop. Okay, so the next looping statement is do while loop. So what is this do while loop is, as you have seen in while loop, we check a condition. Only if it is true we are entering the loop, right? So here what happens is, we first execute certain instructions. Okay, so first instructions are executed. Do. We have this set of instructions to be executed, and usually the variable initialization can be done before do or inside the set of instructions also, and then you will usually most probably have modification also here itself. So you'll have initialization of the variable. Okay, so initialization of the variable, modification is also done here, and then we have closing bracket. After all these instructions are executed, then I am going to check the condition, while condition. And remember, there is a semicolon after while only in this do while loop. If you compare this with while loop, here initialization of the variable is done before the loop. For do while loop, it doesn't matter, you can do the initialization before or after, because anyways we are going to check the condition later. So initialization can be done here or before the do also, and then modification is definitely supposed to be present inside this do itself. Then we are going to check the condition and then execute the instructions accordingly. Now here I will give you an example. So what happens in this case, suppose the same instruction, okay, the same example if I give, I will write do. Okay, so I equals to 1, I am going to give outside the loop itself, I equals to 1, and then here we will write printf %d into %d equals to %d/n, and then we have n star I, then we have I plus plus. Here I am going to check the condition while I less than equal to 10. Okay, so here what happens is, since since I is required for the very first output statement, I am including that initialization outside do itself, similar to your while loop. Now what is the difference between while and do while is, in while loop we are going to check the condition first. Only if the condition is true we will enter the loop, and compiler will enter the loop and execute all the instructions, and then modification is done. So if we want to further continue, we keep checking the modified value of the variable. We see whether the condition is still valid. If it is valid, we are going to continue with the repeat with the instructions. Okay, now here even before checking the condition, you are executing these instructions once. Okay, so first time when you are printing these instructions, you are not even checking whether the condition is true or false. So we have a variable initialization here. Then in this do while we are printing a statement, and then we are writing I plus plus, means a value of I is increased, value of I becomes 2 now. Now we are checking the condition while I less than equal to 10. Okay, so is I less than equal to 10? As per the example that I gave, value of I is still 2. Okay, so 2 is less than or equal to 10, and therefore the condition is true. So the set of instructions will be repeated again. Okay, so we are going to repeat this as long as the condition is true. Once the condition becomes false, we are not going to repeat this set of instructions. So typically the output is going to be same for both of them. Here also you are going to get whatever is value of n. Suppose you give 5 as the value for n. So I had already mentioned here the output. So you're going to have 5 into 1, 5 into 2, up to 5 into 10. Same thing appears here also. Then if the output is same and if the working is same, why do we need two different loop? Is when you don't see in this first, there is only one difference between this while and do while. So what is that? Here while instructions will get executed only after checking the condition. It means when you check for the first time. So that is the reason I gave an example while I greater than equal to 10. For the previous example I did a modification. So if the condition is false for the very first time, then the instructions will not get executed even once. Okay, not even once, it will be skipped and the next set of instructions will be done. Whereas in do while loop, even if the condition is false, we are going to execute the set of instructions at least once, because we are checking the condition only after those two instructions are executed. Okay, so make sure that your process is correct, otherwise, so that you don't get any errors. Otherwise here there is a possibility that even if the condition is false for the very first time, one time this loop will get executed. If you are okay with that, like if your program it requires one time execution, a minimum of one time execution, then you will go for do while loop. Okay, so the next one is your for loop. Usually for menu driven programs, when the program gets executed, the menu must be displayed. Like if you are already attending data structures class, you will know we have done a program for stack and queue, where we have different operations, data operations, like we have insertion of an element, deletion of an element, and then we have searching for a given element or display all the elements. So there are certain procedures, like, or multiple procedures for you to do. Say for example, you have insertion, or we have push, pop, as well as display and search. So 4 different functions are there, right? So when you have different functionalities in your program, if you have to first give the user a list of options, whatever the user wants, he is going to choose one of the option, and after choosing that option, accordingly the input will be asked. So suppose you have a program like that, wherein a set of instructions needs to be executed even even if it is not true. Okay, at least once it must be executed even if it is not true. In such situations, we are going to make use of do while loop. So far in my classes, so far in all my classes, I have been using this do while loop only for data structure programs, where I have a menu based program execution. So I'm going to execute the program, there will be a menu, then I'll choose the option. According to the option I choose, I will be asked for certain inputs. So in such cases, it is must to use a do while loop, print all the statements inside this do while loop, and place the initialization before the do while, and once all these instructions, at least once, it will definitely get executed, and after getting executed, the condition will be checked. If the condition is true, compiler will repeat the set of instructions again and again. Okay, so that is do while loop. The next one is the for loop, and I will first write the syntax. Most of my programs, you can see, I will be using a for loop, because it is like a compact version of your while loop. You have all your initialization, condition, modification, everything in single statement, so there is no scope for forgetting any of those parts. Okay, so what is the syntax is? So you write for, here you have expression 1, semicolon, expression 2, and expression 3. Okay, so this is a for loop. Here you have 3 expressions separated by semicolon, and then you have the set of instructions to be executed. Here what are these 3 expressions is, first one is usually an initialization statement. Okay, so first one is an initialization statement where you initialize the variable, like your while loop, you have given I equals to 1 before while, right? So such I equals to 1, I equals to 0, such variable initialization is done in your loop heading itself. Okay, so that is initialization. This is the condition, and this part is your modification. So when a for loop gets executed, compiler is going to execute this first. Okay, this initialization is going to execute only once, it will be executed, then condition is checked. If the condition is true, then we enter the loop. Okay, so then the compiler enters the loop, executes all the instructions, and then so from here it goes back to the expression 3, which is your modification expression. So once all the instructions are executed, it goes back to modification part of the statement, and modification for this variable is done. So once modification is done, we need to check whether the variable is still valid. So after modification, we check the condition. If it is true, we enter the loop, and then once all the instructions are done, we go to the main loop or the for loop, so where modification will be done, and after modification they will further check the condition. If the condition is true, then the set of instructions will get executed again. If the condition is false, we come out of the loop. Okay, so I will give an example. Like I told you, it is a compact version of your while loop, so I am going to give the same example that we took for while loop. So here in while loop, what I had written before, I equals to 1 was written before the while loop, right? So here I am going to write it here, I equals to 1. Then there was a condition that you mention inside while or do while and all that. So that condition we have to write here, I less than equal to 10. And we have to, in how many steps we have to increment this? So this needs to be incremented in steps of 1. So I'll write I plus plus. Okay. Now what is the instruction to be executed? Printf statement. We print equals to %d. So here we'll write n star I, and then we close the bracket. Okay, so here this for loop is a compact version of while loop. Why? Because see, here we had this initialization part, right? So this initialization part is present here itself, and then initialization part is present here, and then condition is given along with while, that is present here, and the modification part which is written inside the while loop, so that modification part is written here. Okay, so this is your for loop which does the work in a very short compact form. So these are the 3 loops that we have. Now we need to know when to use which loop, or when we should not use a particular loop. So everywhere, wherever you use such loops or normal branching statements, you have to be very specific about the types of about the syntax conditions that are present, and there are possibilities that you make mistakes, and you should also know what if you lose this, what if you don't write this, what if you put a semicolon in the end. So all these things you have to know how it works or what type of error it gives. So then when you actually have an exam or a placement interview, whatever, so when certain things which are not usually the part of programming practice, so such things will be given, and they'll ask you, what if I give like this, how it will execute. Now I told you we need 3 instructions for loop, right? What if I don't have 3 instructions and I still want to use for loop? You can still do it, but the syntax for loop is this for keyword, simple left and right parenthesis, and then two semicolons inside. So 2 semicolons inside that for statement is a must. Okay, so that is a must. If that is not there, then you will get an error saying the syntax is not correct. Okay, so I will write one example here. Suppose I am initializing value of I. Okay, so I am going to print from n to 1 in the reverse order. In the decreasing order, I am going to print from n to 1. So I will ask the user to enter a value for n, and whatever user enters, I am storing it in an integer variable. Okay, suppose now I want to display values from 5 to 1 or 10 to 1, like that, in the reverse order, in the descending order. I want to print all the numbers separated by a line. Okay, so in this case, so I have already used the variable here, which is required for the loop. So whichever variable you want, you can start initializing, and from that point onwards, so I will take this as I. Okay, so from that point onwards, so there is no initialization required because it is already done. And after initialization is done, now we have to put the condition. So as long as I is greater than equal to 1, I minus minus. So here, if you observe, there is no expression for initialization, but it is okay. This will work because all you have to do is you need to make sure it has this. Okay, so you have a for, you have left and right parenthesis, and you have 2 semicolons inside. So between that you will have 3 instructions. So you will have expression 1, expression 2, and expression 3. And if one of them, or more than one, or even all of them are missing, it doesn't matter, because somewhere you should give it. Okay, it is not necessary that it has to be present there only, but nobody gives anywhere else. If this is the type of instruction you have where you don't know what is the starting value of I, and you're going to take it from the user, if that is your program, then make sure that you are not going to use this for loop, because since there is no initialization part from your side, so don't include that. Okay, so if the initialization is already done here, so I am not including the instruction, initialization instruction. Okay, so now, but there is a semicolon, means no initialization instruction. And then is I greater than equal to 1? Suppose I give I as 5. Is I greater than equal to 1? Yes, it is true. So I minus minus, and then we will have a printf statement. As long as it is greater than 1, we are going to print the value. Okay, %d/n and I. So here what happens is, whatever value you give for I, suppose you give I as 5, you give I as 10, whatever it is, we are going to start with that value. Hence I have not given the initialization part, but it is fine, because as soon as left parenthesis is there, there is a semicolon indicating that instruction, or the initialization instruction is already done. Okay, now is I greater than equal to 1? Yes, it is greater than equal to 1. Suppose I have given I as 5. Yes, it is greater than equal to 1. So we are going to print the value of I. Come to the next line, and then we will see what is the next part. So once all the instructions are executed, compiler will go to the modification part and modify the variable. So I becomes 4. Then the condition will be checked. Is 4 greater than equal to 1? Yes. So we execute the printf statement again. So this keeps on repeating until I is greater than equal to 1. So after that it doesn't happen. So say if you have 4, 3, 2, 1. So it's going to print 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So when I is 1 greater than equal to 1 is true. So we enter the loop and we print that printf statement. Next time when I minus minus is there, means I value will become 0. 0 greater than 1 will be false, and then we come out of the loop. So what is the difference between while and for? For is like a compact version of while, and initialization, condition, expression, everything is written at one place. Now you need to understand when to use each one of these loops. While and for are very similar. While you can use whenever you want. For you use it only if you already know, if there is a fixed initial value you can use. Say for example I equals to 0. So for such things you can make use of for loop where initial value is known and it's a fixed value. You're going to give for I equals to 1 or I equals to 0. Means when you print multiplication tables, you're always going to print from 5 ones are only. So value of I will always start from 1. Okay, even for 10th multiplication table, it is going to start from I1 only because 10 ones are 10 twos are. Like that is what you're going to give, right? So when you know the initial value, when the initial value is fixed, then you can give it as a loop. Use a for loop. Suppose initial value is not fixed and you have to take it from the user every time, or it depends on some other calculation, so something like that, then you use while loop where you write the initialization instructions before starting the loop itself, and then you write the condition, and inside the loop you write the modification. In case you know all the what initial value you have to start with, then I would suggest to go with for loop, because when you start with for loop, so you are having a clarity about what should be my initial value and what should be the final value, and in how many steps I need to keep incrementing. See, in this case my initial value is 1 and my final value is going to be 10, and I'm increasing in the steps of 1. Okay, so 1 2 3, so for every number I'm just going to add 1 to get my next number. So that way, when you know it very very clearly, you can make use of for loop. While loop will be used whenever initialization you are getting it from the user, or you are taking it from some other calculation. So then you will use there is no initialization part as part of the statement. Okay, so in such case, so we do the initialization before itself and then we write the condition. There you can use while. And again, when you want to execute the next set of instruction, if it is dependent on the user input, then also you need while, because accordingly you can modify the condition or the modification part, or the increment or decrement part. So that is in case of while. So do while I already told you when to use. If you have a menu driven program, for all that data structure programs where you have a menu driven program, you display menu options for the user, and then user is going to choose one menu option, and then based on that input is taken from the user. So that is a menu driven program, and in our data structures class we have already done. We have done menu driven program for stacks and queues. So in such cases we make use of do while loop, and you will use do while whenever you are in a situation wherein the set of instructions needs to be executed at least once. In such situation also you will be using the do while loop. Okay, so these are various types of loops. What is the syntax with an example, when to use which one, all these things I have explained in this class. I have already uploaded a video in which I have given example programs for loop, where we have printed some triangular patterns of stars. Okay, stars or numbers. So how to print triangular patterns, for that there is a for loop. Using for loop I have done the programming. So for that the video is already uploaded in the YouTube, and I am going to put that link also in the description. So immediately after this class, make sure you watch that video as well. Okay, don't skip it, make sure you watch that video. So that is going to be example programs for loop. In the next class I am going to explain more programs on all these loops. We will do lots of programs that demonstrates the usage of these loops in the program. Okay, so that's it for today's class. So if you have not watched the previous sessions of C programming, in the description I have mentioned the link, so you can go through the previous classes. Make sure you understand programming perfectly. As I told you in the previous class, all this while whatever was done was basics. From now onwards, that is from loops onwards, it's going to be important. Each and every topic is important, and once you know functions, pointers, arrays, strings and all that, you will be knowing how to handle the large data structure programs using these simpler loops and variables and other literals that are there in the program. Okay, so in the next class we will see many example programs for all the loops. I will be giving you certain practice questions also for loops. so you can practice them. And in the practice questions you will be using loops also. You might be using decision making statements like if else and switch also you might have to use sometimes. So based on the question you decide which all will be required. So once you get hold of that very perfectly, then we can start with arrays, strings, and then you have functions, pointers, structures. One by one we'll go through. So this is for today's class, and in each and every video the related books link I would have mentioned in the description. So it's an Amazon affiliate link. In case you want to buy any good book for learning this, I'll be suggesting the best book in your in the link that is mentioned below this video. So if you are interested, if you are looking to buy a book, then you can go through the link and you can purchase the books from that link. Okay, fine. See you all in the next class. Until then, take care. Bye.